Hi there. I see we've got some folks running in. I will just give it one more minute and we'll get started shortly. Thanks for being here. All right, we've got a great group in here, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thanks so much to you all for being here today. Super excited to tell you a little bit more about our EF GAP programs and to sort of walk you through what this experience could look like for you. So quick intro to myself. My name is Rebecca. I am the program manager here at EF GAP Year. You can see my colleague who sometimes runs this webinar. Her name is here, but it's actually me leading this today. Super excited to chat with you all, to introduce you to EF, to our programs, to what a gap year is really all about. And that's what we're going to kind of jump into first. So thinking about what a gap year is, obviously you've all heard this term before, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But I just always love coming back to this definition because a gap is a semester or year on taken in order to deepen one's personal, practical, and professional awareness. And what's important about this, I think, is that, a gap year isn't time off. It's not, a step away from your planned path, but it's actually a time for you to really dig deep into yourself, into what you want to be doing. It's hard. Sometimes it pushes you out of your comfort zone. It's not just sitting on your couch hanging out, but it's really about being out into the world, figuring out who you are in the world. And that's a pretty powerful thing. We're also seeing folks taking gaps at rates that are higher than ever. So just the number of students, I think, this past year who have rethought their plans, who have rethought kind of what they want to be doing and how they want to be out into the world again, out from behind screens, has gone way up. And that's why we're so excited to keep sharing the gap year word with everyone. Now that we kind of understand that what, I want to walk you through the why, which I think is actually even more important than the what. We see a lot of students in high school with what we call an I should mentality. It's this idea that, students in high school are often bound by this idea that I should take this class, I should apply to this college, I should play this sport because it'll look good on my resume, or it'll help me get into my dream school. These kinds of ideas that we form in our heads about what should be the right path for us. And what we see with our GAP students is really a transition there from I should to I choose. So this is a pretty powerful transition, actually. It's all about kind of figuring out who you are, figuring out what the right path is to you, being exposed to new ideas, to new parts of the world, to new people, to kind of be able to make a more informed decision about what you want to be doing with your life, what you want to be doing in college, in your career, all these pieces that are so important to figuring out how to make the most of your time in college and your entire life. Not to sound too extreme here, but it can really set you off on a path here that will impact you for the rest of your life. Thinking about gap year in college, we see gap years not as a detour from the college path, but really a gateway to success in college and beyond. And when we look at our students, our EF GAP students, and where they go after their gaps, some of the top schools that our students end up going to, like the highest number of our students end up going to, include places like University of Chicago, Harvard, CU Boulder, NYU, Duke. So some really top schools here, where they're not just going, but they're also thriving. They're really active contributors to the college campus there. They're better prepared. And colleges say this to us as well. They say we love gap year students because they are leaders on campus. They are already coming to campus day one, really ready to make the most out of their experience and ready to take on leadership roles there. And like I said earlier, it doesn't just impact you in college, but really for the rest of your life. You're making higher grades in college. I love that. You actually have higher GPA, but you also come out with a better sense of what you want to be doing and actually skills that help you get better first jobs. So I think this is a pretty powerful way to show that the data really backs up this idea that gap years are putting you on actually a path to better success. So how do we come into it here at EF? First and foremost, we are an education organization, and our mission is opening the world through education. So perhaps some of you know us because you've traveled with EF Tours or EF Explore America in high school or middle school. We're actually the educational partner for thousands of schools across the US. And this really, our EF Gap division is really just one piece of this global organization that has travel opportunities for folks of all ages. Secondly, we are really travel experts. We've been doing this for over 55 years now, and we really pride ourselves on providing travel that's safe, especially in today's world, being able to tap into our resources across the globe, making sure that we are getting students back on the road safely and healthily. These are really important pieces for us. And we actually have students on the road right now who are on their gap semester and gap year program. So we're really loving having students on the road and being able to, help everyone do it successfully and safely. Finally, this globally local piece, we sometimes say that EF is always awake because it's quite true. We've got staff all over the world. So no matter what time of day it is, no matter where in the world you are, we're there for you. We know what's happening everywhere. We've got folks on the ground everywhere that you travel on your gap year. We've got campuses and schools and offices in all of these different countries across the globe. This is our North American headquarters in Boston, where I work. And it's just an incredible global resource for you as we travel, to know that EF has your back wherever you go in the world. At EF Gap Year specifically, our mission is really to help students thrive in an ever-changing world. And what does this mean? This is a big statement, right? So the first piece is a growth mindset, right? Really getting you out of your comfort zone, helping you find what you're really passionate about, and leaning into that so that you can keep growing throughout your gap and far beyond. The second is global perspectives. This makes a lot of sense, right? That you're out in the world, going to these different countries, really understanding other parts of the world, not just from travel in and of itself, but from true immersion, from really being a part of these cultures, a part of these communities, forming these friendships, forming these relationships with folks from all over the globe, and coming out of it, understanding more about the world around you. And this ties into the personal development piece, more about yourself in the world. So it's interesting, when we're out of our comfort zones, when we are out there in the world, being exposed to new ideas, having to figure out who we are, what our values are, how we deal with difficult situations. All these things are what actually help us grow the most. And so personal development is another really key piece of what we do on our program, both through the experience itself and through guided workshops, through leadership workshops, different pieces of our program that really help you target that personal development piece. And finally, action. So we really want to set our students up to be actors in the world, not in a sense of getting on a stage, maybe, but really actors in that you are taking action in whatever field you choose to go into, in whatever community you choose to live in, that you are in your own unique way, setting yourself up to make change and make a difference in our world. And this cycle kind of goes back, it goes around, right? So you're taking action and you're still growing, you're still gaining new perspectives, you're still growing personally. We want to set you up on this cycle so that you can keep going on it for the rest of your life. So a gap year can be fantastic, obviously, no matter what you do with it. And what a lot of students find challenging when they start to approach this gap year idea is that there are a lot of challenges in ensuring that it's time well spent, planning those travel and logistics pieces, making sure that everything you're doing is safe, and maybe most importantly, making sure that the time itself is going to offer you the kinds of outcomes that you want. And that's why we, are able to partner with you to do some of that heavy lifting. So rather than having to find that first flight and buy that and figure out the hotels and book those and find friends to go with you so you aren't alone the whole time, all that good stuff, with us, you have all of those pieces set up for you so that when you're on the ground, you can really make the most of that experience. You have a cohort alongside you who's going through this same experience, who are going to be lifelong friends. We have all of these pieces put in place to help you feel supported while you have that independence. We're always there when you need us. And so we're really there for students who want to take some of that stress and that risk out of what can and really should be the most impactful year of your life. So all of our EF-GAP programs include these pieces you see here. So all of that international airfare as you go to different parts of the world and on the ground transport too. Accommodations, so depending on the part of the program, it could be in hotels, it could be in homestays, could be in apartments. It really depends on which part of the program you're in. Meals, so we cover about 50 to 70% of the meals on your program. Activities and events, so all the things you're doing on the ground, our global support, of course, and the mentorship, which really starts from day one. So maybe some of you have even already talked with someone on our team, but we have such a great team to help you plan your gap from the very beginning stages. So I'll make sure to give you more info about how to talk with them at the end of the webinar. But just know that our team is super friendly, no matter whether you're already 100% yes, definitely want to do a gap year, know exactly what you want to do, or if you're just like, no idea what I want, I'm just exploring it. That's what we're here for, to kind of walk you through what this could potentially look like for you and if it's a good fit for you. So what do our programs look like? I will kind of walk you through a few of the itineraries of the different types of programs that we have. I'll share a quick alumni story with you, and then I'll show you some photos from some of our students who are on the road or recently returned from their gap years so that you can kind of see those stories brought to life. So as you can see here, we have short-term programs that are 3 to 6 week programs, gap semester programs, which are 12 weeks starting in the fall or the spring. And we have our full gap year program, which is a full academic year. So 2 semesters with a winter break in the middle, kind of like your typical year at college. So let's start by talking about short-term programs, which, as I said, all between 3 and 6 weeks, starting at $6,900. And you can earn up to 3 credits on these programs. We actually have a cohort departing very soon to head off to Barcelona for one of our Compass programs. And our Compass programs are all about combining travel with cultural immersion and the language learning and global exposure that goes along with it. So for example, let's take this Barcelona program that is happening in November and December. Students going on this program will spend their first out of their 6 weeks traveling through France and Spain with one of our EF tour directors to see some awesome cities in that area, really get to bond as a group, get to explore together. And then they'll settle down in Barcelona, where they will be attending classes at our EF campus there. So no matter whether they're total beginners at Spanish or have already taken AP and just really want to get it up to the next level, there'll be classes for them. They'll be living with a homestay family, really immersing themselves in the culture there. And coming out of the program with both those language skills and some skills really targeted in workshops each week around developing that growth mindset, that global perspective, that personal development, everything from doing a bingo exploration around town about exploring places far beyond being a tourist there, all the way to doing a cooking class that's targeted at helping you be able to prepare meals for yourself in your dorm room that are based in Spanish cuisine. All these kinds of workshops that really help add on to that cultural immersion experience. So Compass programs are kind of like that. Just imagine in Tokyo, it's our EF campus in the heart of Tokyo, in Rome, in the heart of Rome. I love our campus in Rome. It's just a couple blocks from the Trevi Fountain, so you can live out your Lizzie McGuire dreams there. But all of these programs kind of follow that same model of 1 week of travel in the region before settling down in these really awesome global cities. Impact programs. So impact programs are really about learning about global issues in a local context and getting your hands dirty while you're at it. So I'll give you an example, which is our Sustainable Development in Costa Rica program, which happened last summer and will be happening again this summer. That program is really focused on helping students understand sustainable development through the lens of Costa Rica, which is a pretty amazing country with a lot of work that they've done to preserve and conserve their natural environments there. And and make sure that they are setting themselves up well on a societal level too. So you're there working with NGOs and nonprofits on different projects, everything from working with kids in an after school program to doing a sea turtle conservation project. That's actually what these students are doing here. That's a little turtle that they're pulling out of the water right there, to planting mangroves, to working on a self-sustaining farm high in the mountains. So you're really getting a great experience of learning about different pieces of sustainability in action there. So that's a 3-week program happening in summer 2022, if that's of interest to you. We've already got a lot of students signed up for it, so definitely let us know if you're interested. All right, the second type of program is our gap semester program. Like I said, we've got our gap semester students on the road right now, which is awesome. And we have 5 different tracks for the gap semester. And they're all kind of arranged in this same timeline you see here. They all start off and end with the same pieces, and I'll tell you a little bit about those pieces. So European Immersion is 2 weeks that you spend traveling throughout Europe, going from London to Amsterdam to Paris to Barcelona. So 4 really huge, amazing cities in Europe, getting to visit with your cohort and with one of our EF tour directors who's showing you all the best spots there. An incredible way to kick off the program and get to check off some of those bucket list items in each city. And then they all end with Leadership Academy. We're actually preparing for that right now. I'll be headed over to our Ashridge campus right outside of London to help lead that. It's an incredible experience. A lot of students say after the Leadership Academy, say, I didn't know what to expect, and I thought it would be kind of boring, but it was actually my favorite part of the program because it's all about hearing from some incredible speakers who are leaders in the business world about their experiences, about how to gain leadership skills, doing some really hands-on workshops, all at this really cool castle that looks right out of Harry Potter or Downton Abbey, that's part of our EF campuses across the globe. So getting to be in this beautiful spot with your cohort, really figuring out what you're taking from your gap semester on to your next steps in life. And you'll see in the next slide too, these European Immersion and Leadership Academy pieces are both a part of our full year program as well. Now we'll talk a little bit about the modules in between. So our 3 different module types are language study, service learning, and internship. As you can see here, you have 2 of those 3 modules in the gap semester. So let's take the Discoverer, for example, really a wonderful classic European gap experience. You are doing language study somewhere in Europe, so maybe that's at our EF campus in Barcelona that I just mentioned, or in Paris, Nice, Rome, Berlin, just to name a few. So you're really getting that language experience in one of these European cities. And then you are headed on for an internship in either Dublin, Ireland, or Seville, Spain. So getting to work at one of our business partners there to do an internship and really get to experience one of these awesome cities in Europe. Don't worry though, if Europe's not your jam, perhaps the Voyager is for you. With this program, you are doing service learning in Thailand. So getting to work with some of our NGO partners in Thailand, in things like at an elephant sanctuary, at some rural infrastructure building projects. And then you get to go to Tokyo. So totally different vibe, huge city. You're right in the heart there, studying Japanese at our language campus there. So lots of different options there, each one of them unique. If you're Latin America focused, the Adventure is for you. The Globetrotter is great if you want to just see as much of the world as possible. So a lot of great options there, no matter where you want to go on your gap semester. I'll also say if anyone has questions along the way, feel free to throw them in the Q&A box and I will tackle them at the end. But let's talk quickly about that full gap year program. So it is 25 weeks long. You can earn up to 9 college credits. And it's really the most customizable program that we offer. You have all 3 of those modules included. So the language study, the service learning, and the internship piece. Each of those modules is 6 weeks during the gap year. It's 4 weeks during the semester program. So you really have time in the gap year to settle down into your language study location after your European immersion. Then you head out for service learning in one of these destinations you see here, anywhere from Peru to Tanzania to Thailand to Costa Rica, Dominican Republic. No wrong place to go there. And then you'll see the internship module at the end there, where you are living in an apartment with your fellow gappers, commuting to your internship. We work with you one-on-one to place you in an internship where you're really going to be successful, where you're going to gain some great skills to bring to your next steps. We've had students do everything from interning at an NGO in Dublin to interning at a solar energy startup in Seville to working at a dog boutique. It was like a startup dog boutique in Sydney that this student absolutely loved. She actually got a job offer from them afterwards. So just a lot of awesome internship experiences, no matter where you want to go or what you want to do there. So that is the full gap year program. I am going to share a quick alum story with you. This is Annabelle. She's one of our awesome alums, and she really had a transformative experience on her gap year, and I think kind of brings it to life what that, how transformative and how a gap year experience can really change you. So I'm going to let you hear this in Annabelle's own words with this quick little audio clip.
I chose to do my gap year with a company called EF, Education First. The service learning portion in the Dominican Republic was the most life-changing portion of the program, I would say, for me. I got the opportunity to work with a company called Fundamar, and they work to revive coral reefs. So I, having known nothing about coral before going, this just sounded like something that was cool. I felt so inspired by everything that I was doing there. I don't remember ever feeling that way about anything, and by the time I was done with my gap year, I was already pretty sure that I wanted to change my path in life. My biggest piece of advice that I could offer anyone is that it's okay to venture outside of the norm. It's okay to think about things and do things that most people aren't doing.
Some great words of wisdom from Annabelle there, and you might have seen some ears pop up. My dog is roaming around, so sorry about that. But really, Annabelle's story, I've heard it many times now, and it never ceases to amaze me. You know, she found this totally new career path for herself that she never could have anticipated, never would have found if she hadn't taken a gap year. And we have a lot of students like this who, really find who they are and what they want to be doing. Now I think she's a senior now at Boston University. Yeah, wow, time flies. Majoring in marine biology. So truly her path has been shaped by this, and we love to see it. So making it happen, it really looks different for every family. We do offer monthly payment plans kind of as the standard. So, no interest, nothing like that. Just when you enroll in our program, we spread those payments out over the coming months before your departure to just help make it more manageable there. We also offer our own EF Gap Year scholarships. There are external scholarships out there. If you have a 529, which is like an educational savings account, those can typically be applied for gap years as well. And, we've got lots of really industrious students who are working hard, getting jobs, fundraising their communities, doing all sorts of things. So, we really work with you to help you figure out how to make it work for you financially. And that's another thing that our team is here for. Like, we help you put together that plan. So we're happy to talk about that with you as well. Before I wrap up, I just want to show you some pictures to kind of help bring things to life. These are all photos from our orientation that took place in Boston at the beginning of our year and semester programs this fall. You can see a lot of EF pink there. These are 3 of our amazing alumni who came back to help us welcome the new students. Doing lots of activities outside in Boston, getting to see the beautiful streets there. There's me giving a talk about something important, I'm sure. But just an awesome time. So much fun to see students bond. It's amazing. You come into the weekend, these students come into the weekend knowing nobody, they come out with lifelong friends. It's pretty incredible to see. Here, I just wanted to share some photos of some of our students on their European immersion trip that just happened. as they traveled across Europe. So some of the students I met at orientation there in front of the Eiffel Tower, riding on a boat in the Seine, getting to explore Barcelona, getting to go to Versailles. So really getting to see so much of Europe. That's their awesome tour director there, Keith, who the students just loved him. He's a really awesome guy with so much knowledge and is so much fun. So just an incredible experience going through Europe. Some more photos from a language study. Just a little video of our campus in Barcelona. There's like a rooftop area with little rooms where students get to study and hang out right in the heart of the city. This is Rome, right near the EF office, the EF language campus there. Just a lot of amazing spots there with the language study module. Oops, there we go. Here's some students yelling. So, kind of the slogan of Costa Rica there, after getting hot and sweaty, planting some trees. And you can see, this is another student in Costa Rica, found a butterfly, Peru, just all these amazing spots where our students have loved doing service. And internship. This is one of our alums, Diego in Berlin, who really enjoyed doing an internship at a social media marketing company in Berlin. Now he's studying fashion. He says that the skills he learned there are really helping him in that fashion industry that he's going into. And these are some of the apartments, like, students live in these shared apartments, really getting a taste of adulting. So that's Alexa in her kitchen in Dublin, some other students preparing a meal together. So really a great time to experience that 9-to-5 working life and get to learn how to live on your own. And finally, Leadership Academy. This is Ashridge that I was telling you about. So it really looks like a Downton Abbey, Harry Potter type place, and just so many great workshops to do. Get to go spend some time in London as well. But just an incredible spot. Very excited to be there for during the holidays as well, because they'll have a big, beautiful Christmas light kind of set up out there in the grounds around Ashridge. So just wanted to show you some pictures to bring it to life. This is the same photo you saw earlier of our alumni from the orientation. But this is John, another great alum, who has a quote here, my gap semester changed me for the better in so many ways. EF and the opportunities that were presented to me made me realize the unknown isn't scary, and that I should embrace these opportunities to find myself as paths towards the person I want to become. So we love John, we love our alums. They just have gone on to do such awesome things, and always love getting to connect with them and see where our students end up. So next step in the admissions process, unlike some colleges that thrive on exclusivity, we really love to focus on inclusivity. So, we don't have application fees, letters of rejections, all that stuff. Actually, we work with families to collectively make a decision about what the best next step is for you. And we're committed to working with students to prepare them for this experience. But we know a gap year is not for everyone. 97% of students we talk to decide this isn't for them. But for those students who know this is for them, we are really excited to welcome you. As you prepare for departure, we have expectations for you that we'll outline of what you'll do and how you'll behave. And if these expectations aren't met, we can rescind someone's offer to join us. And that's kind of how we function in terms of like acceptance. All this basically means that success in participating on an EF GAP program isn't up to us, it's really up to you. And so the way we go forward for students and families who are interested is by setting up a program consultation call where we go into more depth on your goals for a GAP, match you with an upcoming program. And if it feels like a good fit for all of us, we invite you to join the program and help you figure out how to enroll, figure out your payment plan, all that good stuff. So if you would like to chat with someone on our team, like I said earlier, they're so nice. No matter where you're at in the process, they're excited to talk with you. Just scan this QR code here to set up that call and get connected with someone on our team. But thank you all so much. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I will stop sharing my screen and open up the Q&A box and see if we've got anything in there. Let's check it out. Thank you, Kathy. I see you have to sign off. Thanks for coming by. A question from Caroline. Can you speak to how 529 money can be used for the gap year? Any specific parameters? Great question. So it really varies state to state on the laws there. Typically, the students who use their 529 accounts also need to be enrolled in the optional college credit option that we have. So our college credits are provided through Southern New Hampshire University, an accredited US university that runs the college credit portion of our programs. So sometimes those 529 accounts need to be used for college credit. But we always recommend you chat with your financial advisor, whoever's administering your 529 account, to talk through what that looks like. But typically they're able to just issue a check and have it sent to us from that account. We rarely have students who, for whatever reason, can't use that 529 money, but we'll help you figure out how that would work for your specific situation. How long does a full gap year normally last? Asks David. So our full gap year program lasts 25 weeks. So it actually starts in early September and ends at the end of April or early May. So it's 25 weeks long with that winter break in the middle there, just like an academic year at college. And yes, another question, can we choose which countries we want to go to? Yes, absolutely, especially with the full gap year program, totally customizable. So you saw that timeline that I had up there. So you can decide to do language study in Paris and service learning in Thailand and an internship in Seville, Spain. Or you could decide to do language study in Costa Rica and service learning in Tanzania and an internship in Tokyo. So really all over the place in terms of the combinations. At some point, someone calculated how many different potential combinations there were. And I don't know, it was like tens of thousands or something. So lots of different combinations. You can really make your gap year your own, which is pretty cool. And we help you figure out too, don't feel like you have to have all the answers and know exactly where you want to go. Great question from Caroline. For the gap semester cost, the slide says starts at 17,500. Can you speak to this? Absolutely. So some of the gap semester programs are 17,500. Those are the ones like the program that's all in Europe, for example, because basically the primary reason why some of the programs are more expensive than others is because of the flight costs. So the flights, since they don't have as many flights for the Discoverer, for example, that program is at 17,500. That's flat for that program. But for some of the other programs like the Globetrotter, which is you're flying all around from Europe to Thailand to Sydney, then back to Europe. So a lot more flights involved. That is up to $20,000. So it's somewhere in that range between 17,500 and 20,000, depending on which gap semester track you choose. So hopefully that clarifies it. If you go to our website and look through the different semester options, you can take a quick look at the exact fees for each program and zoom in to kind of see how those itineraries work. Great question. When is the admission deadline? It depends on when you are thinking about traveling. So for example, if any of you happen to be looking at spring semester programs, the deadline is right now. So definitely let us know if you're thinking about traveling in spring 2022. Programs departing this January. For programs departing next fall, I would say the most important thing to keep in mind is that a lot of the destinations fill up kind of early. Excuse me. So for example, our service learning in Thailand always ends up on a wait list fairly early, as does service learning in Costa Rica typically. Some of the internships in Dublin fill up. Actually, they're getting close to full already, I think. So, I would say if you are interested in very specific destinations, get that application in sooner rather than later. Also gives you more time to plan for your gap. Hard deadlines aren't until May of 2022 for that next academic year, but definitely get that process started sooner rather than later to lock in your spot, as the spots and programs do typically fill up early. Question, if Southern New Hampshire provides us the college credits, can they be transferred to our current college? How, if so? Yep, so if you go to your current college's registrar, either online or in person, you can look at how credits transfer from other schools. And typically it's a very easy process. We've never heard of students not being able to transfer these credits from SNHU to their current college. Just depends based on each school how they transfer. So whether they're general ed requirements or they count towards language credits, or where they count really depends school to school. It's totally different. It's a wild west out there in terms of how registrars work, but for all students we've talked to, those credits have transferred perfectly to their other colleges. So yep, just contact your current college's registrar and see how credits from Southern New Hampshire University would transfer. Question, does the 25-week program amount change like the semester, or is it set? Nope, that is set at 38,500. So you can do whatever you want within those parameters there. So no matter which destinations you want to choose, it's all the same. So go wild. Cool. Any other questions folks have? Some really good questions today. We've got a great group in here. Cool. If there are no, how much is a semester? Yep, as I said earlier, semesters range from 17,500 to 20,000, just depending on the itinerary itself. So yep, it's in that range, no matter which track you end up choosing. Another question, can you speak to the places that give scholarships outside of EF? Sorry, I'm talking so much, my voice is getting hoarse. Yes, so a great resource for that is the Gap Year Association's website. They actually have a great page on outside scholarships, places like, well, you saw a student that we had earlier who actually got a scholarship from this place called the Travel Access Project. A lot of them are like private funding that's given for students to travel, to go different places, and specific for gap year programs. Every year we have students get some of these awards, which can really help offset the cost. So check out the Gap Year Association. If you Google them, you'll find their website. They have like a scholarships and financial aid page on there. Check that out, click through the links. Some you'll be eligible for, some you won't, just totally depends. But there are a lot of like really niche scholarships out there. I would also say we have students who are really tapped into their communities. So like we've had students work to get scholarships from like their local Rotary Club, or like one of them had like their dad's golf club or something had like smaller scholarships, So students get really creative. Like, of course, there are these bigger name scholarships out there, but we always encourage students to think about their own communities, their own resources there, because there are a lot of great options out there that we don't even know about because they're so local. So definitely ways to get creative there. Cool. Awesome questions. If there aren't any more at this point, I will let you all go. But definitely reach out to us if you have other questions. Hope that you are able to schedule some time with a member of our team because we've got awesome folks here ready to chat with you, ready to help you figure out if a gap year is the right fit for you, and if so, how to make it happen. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.